Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Cube Ambassador. Yes, I almost said it again, Vanguard. Someone told me last week, and I said the Cube Vanguard, and that's because it used to be called, the show used to be called Cube Vanguard, and then I rebranded because, well, at least in North America, everything's marketing and rebranding, and people phone you and say, "Hi, Jeff, how are you?" And I think it's some old friend. They go, "Oh, I'm fine. How are you doing?" And they say, "I'm great. You want to buy this incredible, awesome marker?" And I go, "What? Who are you?" And I hang up. So I rebranded as well, and it's the Cube Ambassador now. All right, so you might have noticed, okay, I have a matching hat, a matching Veeam Legend swag I'm wearing. Oh, I'm also, don't worry, I'm not going to go too far with this. I'm also wearing my Veeam shirt. That's because yesterday was the Veeam V12 release, the official release. Very exciting release. You know, a lot of new features. I can't even go over them. There's so many of them, it drives you crazy, but there's direct backups to S3 now, okay? So you can have repositories in Veeam which are S3, the cloud, local, wherever you want them, in your basement. You know, I have computers all over the place. I hide them in my basement, my old laptops, and I do like backups through the floors of the house just because I can do them, right? What do you do on a Saturday night, Jeff? Well, all right. So yeah, it was a big release, and everyone else is, blogging, vlogging, talking about all these other features. But I'm going to talk about, of course, my beloved Kasten because there's some more integration which has come with Veeam 12. And I've talked about this before, but I will show it again just in case because I like it so much. And I don't think I've shown this part. Okay, so this is a Veeam 12. Okay, Veeam 12. And look at this. There are two managed servers, but they're instances of Kasten. Okay, this one here is a K8s, which I created vanilla, and this is a K3s, okay, which I created as well. I've added them both. So the beauty of this is that now, if I go to my home screen, and I've got nothing else in here, I created this and only put Kasten because I didn't want to overwhelm people with all the other jillion billion things that you can put in a Veeam server now because you'll lose your focus. Okay, so now you can actually see the backup policies, but you don't have to just see them. You can also start them. So let's just do that so I can prove my point. I can start any of these policies. So I've only got two because it's a test setup, but I press start and guess what? It should start unless it's going to be difficult. No, did I press start? I don't know if I did. I right click, but I was talking. Let's try it again. All right, click. There we go. Oh, job's already started. Ooh, Jeff, calm down. Okay, so it'll start up. So now you can control, oh, there goes your Kasten jobs from your Veeam server. Now, I was a system administrator for many years, a backup administrator. I like having everything in one pane of glass, okay? I don't like to run around different screens, run around different RDPs. It's annoying. I like to have it all in front of me. So this is wonderful. I can have my VMs. I can have OpenShift VMs. I can have, Veeam VMs from vSphere, whatever, and have them all under one pane. Okay, but that's not all, as they say in the sales, and that's not all. What's more, for $9.99, you can right click this, okay, press edit, and look what happens. Yes, it brings up the GUI, the Kasten GUI, the web GUI that is, brings it up all ready to edit my policy. Isn't that cool? Okay, I didn't have to go in myself through a shortcut. It brought it up for me, and I can, change whatever I want. Now, this is interesting here. I'll point out, look at this, VMware snapshot limit. What's that, Jeff? Well, this is a backup, which I've done, which I'm leveraging, the deployment's leveraging a vSphere CSI driver. That can be sent to a Veeam repository, okay? The data box can. That's a long story, but that's part of the integration. There's going to be more and more integration coming in the future, okay? So I wanted to show you that. Again, let's go back to our Veeam 12 server. So there's the instance. It's in the web browser, and the Kasten servers are added here, two of them. You can also right-click here and go Open Console or press on the button, and it'll bring up the console again. All right, there it comes. Okay. And there it is. Okay, so you can go to that very quickly. Now, just like other Veeam objects, you can go to properties and it'll run you through like the initial setup. As you can see, it's very simple. You put in the IP or DNS name, and instance application path is there, and then credentials. And in this case, I'm just using, whoa, I went too far. Anyways, I'm just using the K10 K10 service account. Go back and show it. There it is. Okay, you put depending on what kind of authentication you're using, you put in the credentials. I'm using here token authentication, so I put the token in, okay? And a reminder about the token, just in case you've forgotten, after Kubernetes 1.24, you now need to create a token in Kasten, okay? And I'll show you that as well. Let me just find where that is here. I've got it here as well. Do I have it here? Maybe I don't. Maybe I don't. Let me double check. I thought I did. Okay. I must have closed it. Okay. No big deal. Basically, it's kubectl. Oh, because I'm in the wrong VM. There we go. There we go. We'll go over to here. Here it is. So basically, you want to do this. Do kubectl. I've got it here somewhere. I was fixing my WordPress. See, this is what happens. You start going, there it is, create token. You could just done history, Jeff, would have found it, but okay. So there we go. So K, create token. So K is for kubectl. Kasten, namespace, the service count, K10, and then duration. This is the cool thing, durations. Give it 4 hours. So if someone steals your token, guess what? In 4 hours, it's useless. All right. Now, I came to this machine. This is actually a little laptop because I'm playing with it. Rancher Desktop's on there, one of my favorites. And the reason for that is because in here, I've installed also some deployments. And one of them I've installed is WordPress, okay? WordPress, I called it Word Backup, and it's in a deployment. It's in a Word namespace called Word. Now, why am I doing this? Because I want to show something special. Replication, yes, not real time, but replication in Kasten. It does exist. In fact, Kasten's very flexible. It's a very flexible product. And so, just like Veeam, so you can sculpt it to your needs. You can do all sorts of things. You can script things. You can just go crazy if you want. And I want to show you some basic replication. Now, how do you create replication? Now, the idea of replication is that you can quickly turn on your systems in a different location. So it's not backup where you back something up and then you have to restore it and you understand there's going to be a certain amount of time it's going to be needed to restore the data. No, you want it up and running as quickly as possible. That is replication, okay? Real-time replication is, of course, when it's literally streaming the data. So in vSphere, for instance, there's a drive that intercepts the stream of data. And so real-time is sending the data. That's not what we have here, but I put this down to running every 20 minutes. I know people can get down to 15 minutes or 10 minutes. I think 15 minutes is the official supported, but it can be done. Now, how do you do that? Well, I create a backup in Kasten here. And what I do is go to edit here. I press hourly, but I do advanced frequency options. And here's where I can do every how many minutes. Now here I've chosen so on the hour, 0.5, and then at 35, it creates a snapshot and it sends it off to S3. It creates a local snapshot and also sends it off to S3. Okay, great. All right. Well, why is that replication, Jeff? Well, because what we're going to do is we're going to, at a different location, your DR center, you're going to create an empty vanilla Kasten, okay? And that Kasten, in that Kasten, you're going to create so-called import jobs, okay? Import jobs. And those import jobs, what they will do, well, what are they going to do? They're going to import, right? Right. And I'll show you that, okay? So here we are. This is a different server. This is actually my lab. It's also, well, it's a K3S, but there's a trick here because it's not the same. I'm using a different storage class to show you something, okay? Here I have import policies, okay? And here's my WordPress. I had another one here, Wasabi, I was playing with. But let's go to edit and look at it. So this is import policy. So I've had to use the data in the copy. I should have shown that. Let's go back and show that. 1 second, if I can bring it back up. So if you go back to here, on this backup, you'll see show import details, okay? So I need to take that. I took copy to clipboard, right? And I have taken that and put it in my other location, okay? And other location, what's the wrong one? I always get stuck doing this. I've got so much stuff open that I get lost on my screen. True craziness. Let me just find it, but while I'm finding it, I will describe it. So what's going to happen is I create at the other location a vanilla server, okay, a vanilla Veeam server, and then I simply create a new, there it is right there. It was hiding. Oh, that's the wrong one too. 1 second. going all over the place. I create a import job, and the import job will then, finally, there it is. The import job will automatically import, okay? But it can also restore, all right? So it's going to import using that copy, that the data that I copied, that little line, that's got all the encryption information, got the information about the location. You just paste it into this, and then it'll bring up automatically that it's going to go, see, there it is. You put it here, export config data. It's just, oh, it's going to go to Wasabi, okay? Because that's where I sent it. And you press, you have frequency, how often? So here I'm on every 10 minutes, on the 10-minute mark and on the 40-minute mark. So over there at the 5-minute mark, and then here it grabs it. I could have had it at the 15-minute mark, maybe give it more time. Depends on how much data you're talking about. You have to be careful of that. But that's what it's going to do, okay? But it's also going to restore after import. And it didn't have to, okay? I could have said don't restore after import, and then I could just done a restore, but that would take more time. This is also going to restore. The problem is, though, you'd only be running 2 productions at the same time. That's double the cost. So this is where we bring in transforms. Transforms can change the backup when they're being restored. And in this case, the deployment. In this case, we're going to scale the deployment to 0, okay? So why? Well, it's not using resources. It's there, it's not using resources. Now, I've got a second one here too, and that's because in my other cluster on the Rancher desktop, I actually installed the CSI host path driver. Here, I was lazy, I didn't want to, okay? I've got just the local path driver that comes with K3S, okay? But it's going to try to reinstall the CSI host path driver unless I transform it. So I have 2 transforms I've created. And when you create transforms, these 2 are, by the way, examples. So they're very simple. You don't have to go and, do everything. They're actually examples there. You just change the setting, okay? So let's first look at the scale deployment. So when this restores, it's going to restore automatically. So it'll first import from the S3. So go over it again. The other setup backs it up to S3. This DR location imports the job, imports it, and then automatically restores it. When it automatically restores it, it changes the deployment. The first thing it doesn't show first here, but it actually will be one of the things, doesn't matter if they're first or second. It's going to replace the spec replicas in the deployment, okay? That might have been 5 before, it might have been 6, I don't know. It's going to replace it with 0, which means there'll be no replicas running, no consumption. Now, there'll be storage consumption because you brought your data back, but that you have to pay for that, I mean, if you want to have replication. On top of that, as I said before, I'm also changing the spec storage class name to local path, all right? Okay. And that's going to run every, twice an hour, I think I put it. You'd have to tweak to see how often you can get away with it. That I don't know, but nevertheless, it will work. Okay, so let's go and take a look. So I've already run this job. It's been successful, and it's running every, twice an hour. And here I'm going to go get deployments in the namespace Word, where my WordPress is. There it is. And look, 0. So it's there. It's there, but 0. So you have a disaster on your side. Your other side is gone. All you have to do is K or kubectl, scale, deploy, and Word, and it's WordPress, right? And we're going to replicas equals, let's say 2, okay? Okay, scaled, all right? And now let's do a watch, kubectl, get deploy in the namespace Word. I was lazy, I didn't say WordPress. And it's the WordPress deployment. Okay, and let's watch it. Okay, look at that, okay? It's getting ready, okay? It's already, so remember it was 0, 0 before? So 0 containers, or 0 pods, I'm sorry. Or containers. In the replicas, it's called replicas. Okay, we're gonna wait for it to come up completely. Boom, there we are. We have 2. We now have a working WordPress deployment. And I don't remember or not if, I don't think I exposed this, but you could expose it right away and have that all in the manifest. Okay. Now, so what's happened? Basically, I've had a disaster on the other end. I have restored to here, and you could script that. You could have a button. You didn't have to type kubectl, scale replicas, but in that case, I did it, and you would have it back up. Okay, so there you go. That is pretty much replication. I think officially is 15 minutes is supported by K10 every 15 minutes. I've got to check that. I got to check that. Okay. All right. So let's just go back here for a second. That is replication. All right. Thank you very much. We will see you next week. I'm almost out of time. Bye-bye.